Low customer satisfaction, retailers forced to cut costs, one small step for mankind, one giant leap for GM, plus an inside look at 3D printing. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Laura Harris. Welcome to Auto News Now. Coming up, we'll have more on those headlines for you. But first, our lead story on customer satisfaction. EV manufacturers rank behind other premium brands in shopping experience satisfaction. The Pied Piper Prospect Satisfaction Index, or PSI, uses 70 best practice behaviors to measure retail service performance of automakers. These are in-person and web response categories and include scores for sales, person attentiveness, availability of finance options, and dealership response times to an online inquiry. In Pied Piper's latest survey of 25 premium brands, all 4 electric exclusive brands were ranked in the bottom quarter of PSI rankings. These include Tesla, Lucid, Polestar, and Rivian. Some of the company's biggest issues: explaining the ins and outs of EVs to customers. Despite this, the decline hasn't correlated to declining sales in 2022. From declining sales in the last quarter to continued rising inflation, online used car sellers may see little growth in demand in the coming months, putting greater pressure on cost savings for retailers like Carvana. Higher prices and rising interest rates are pushing up monthly used vehicle payments, which could price more buyers out of the market. This is not specific to only Carvana, but could present a big problem for the retailer, as the Carvana model is built for super high demand. A senior analyst says expense control is required for the company, and it's shot at future profitability. In a time of ongoing supply chain issues, there might be a solution for some of the shortages. But what is it? It's using 3D printing in the auto industry. Let's take this real-life example. Production of the 2022 Chevrolet Tahoe was set to begin last summer, but supply was running low. A GM engineer was able to instead use additive manufacturing technology, 3D printing, to keep the Tahoe launch on track. Automakers turn to 3D printing for rapid prototyping, lightweighting, and production for a growing number of parts, and are going full speed ahead with the new production methods. Suppliers and automakers traditionally make parts by stamping, casting, or molding. Despite being cost-effective and efficient, this is a traditional method that's too time-consuming. 3D printers are becoming faster and more flexible, and 3D printing for high-volume vehicles is not far off. As I mentioned earlier, automakers and suppliers are using 3D printed parts to keep assembly lines and production machinery running. I spoke with automotive news reporter Richard Truitt on how this new technology can help alleviate supply chain issues. Truitt interviewed the GM engineer that used 3D printing to help with the production of the Tahoe.
The biggest lesson was that if there's ever a situation where a supplier can't deliver the parts, that now they know that 3D printing can, in some certain circumstances, be used to deliver parts in high volume.
When it comes to high production volume, Truitt says the machines can't make the parts just yet, but that GM is only about 2 to 3 years away from that. The unanswered question: can 3D printed parts be cost competitive with traditional ways of production? Truitt says it can't be answered yet, but says that 3D printing has been on the rise for years.
We've watched steady improvements, and we've watched the technology get better and be able to do more things. But the supply chain issue and the pandemic sort of kicked it in the butt a little bit and got it moving quicker, because it's forced companies to take a look at what other alternatives that they had available to them to keep their production machinery running and to keep their production lines moving.
The head of Volkswagen is in Tennessee, getting a first-hand look at the company's Chattanooga assembly center and battery factory. Thomas Schaefer joined the board of directors on a tour this morning. The factory is launching the American-assembled ID.4. Until now, the ID.4 was produced in Germany and China. It's the first all-electric SUV and the brand's first global EV. It will roll out 100,000 per year, but has the capacity for extension to produce more.
With the rollout of electrification in the US and with this great focus on it, we are well set at the right time to launch this vehicle, and then have plans for further extension. Also, obviously, we're also looking into more opportunity here.
VW says its EV portfolio will grow to more than 25 new models through 2030. You'll hear more from Thomas Schaefer tomorrow on First Shift. Get ready because this news is out of this world. It's been more than half a century after Neil Armstrong landed on the moon. And the next vehicle to explore the lunar landscape could be powered by GM's Ultium EV batteries. GM and Lockheed Martin's lunar terrain vehicle, if selected, would be a critical part of NASA's upcoming Artemis missions to return to the moon for the first time since 1972, and could launch this year, followed by several more complex missions through mid-decade. GM's chief engineer for lunar mobility says that GM will push its Ultium batteries into the harshest environment that an EV battery has ever seen. The automaker expects a variety of space vehicles will be needed beyond the Artemis program, and GM plans to be at the forefront. Be sure to stay tuned for tomorrow. We'll have an inside look on more 3D printing technology. That's all we have today for Auto News Now. Thanks for watching, everyone. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at AutoNewsTV and online at autonews.com for updates from our reporters all day, every day. I'm Laura Harris. Have a great night, and I'll see you all next time.